this journey into academia. I had a colleague of mine who had a master's of fine arts. And in our field, you don't have to have a PhD in order to become a professor. You have to have a master's of fine arts. And I was talking to her about the possibility of starting my PhD. And so this was like very early in my career. She was a white woman. And she said, well, you really don't have to get a PhD. You can just go and get your master's of fine arts. And I said to her, yeah, that sounds good for you. But I said, I know that that's not going to be good for me. And she was like, well, what do you mean? I said, as a Black woman, I can't get a master's of fine arts. I have to get a PhD. And so for quite a while, I was the only professor that had a PhD that was a fashion design professor. Any other PhD that we had, they were retail marketing, fashion people. So I was the only one for quite a while in my department who had a PhD who was teaching design. Everybody else had a MFA. And yet and still, they said that I wasn't talented enough to be there, that I didn't deserve to be there, even though I had a PhD and they had an MFA. So I knew that I had to have the best. I had to have the top, because if I didn't, there's no way I would have ever been able to be recognized.
Right. So true. So true.
Mhm.
That's a great example.
Absolutely. hmm
Mhm. So in your role of and founder of Dr. Tameka Ellington Enterprises, what are the core principles that guide your work in personal and professional development?
Be beautiful, be authentic, be confident. Those are the three things. If you open up my website, that's going to be the first three things that you see. Be beautiful, be be confident, be authentic.
That's great. That's great. So innovation is something that I have always felt like you are quite innovative throughout your whole career. How does innovation and inclusive environments and diversity and belonging and equity all commingle together?
Well, diversity, belonging, I honestly don't think that you can separate the two. You can't separate diversity, equity from innovation. And the reason why I say that is because people that are from diverse backgrounds bring so much creativity and such a different perspective than other people that you can't help but to get something new by having someone of a diverse background in your company, in your school, or whatever, because our lived experience is very different than other people's lived experiences. So we're always going to bring something different, always going to bring something innovative, because that's just who we are.
I like that a lot. So, as you're thinking about future projects, you are a mover and a shaker. And so, what's on the horizon for you?
So I just completed and will be rolling out very soon a program called Girl Be the Goat. So I wrote a book called Be the Go, and it's a career readiness manual for young people, for high schoolers and college students. And the reason why I wrote that book is because, as I mentioned, I was the first person in my family to go to college, first person to work in a corporate environment. And so when I was in the process of interviewing and getting prepared for my career, there were so many things I did not know. And so in that book, I put all the things that I wish I would have known when I was their age. And so I decided that I wanted to take that book and turn it into a more fleshed out program specifically for girls, where I can spend 4 sessions with them, empowerment sessions, where we talk about self-discovery, we talk about confidence and empowerment, we talk about career development, all of these things that young girls need. And so along with that, they'll also get a copy of my book. I also have a package where they can get a 10 module course that I have, online module course. So I'm going to be rolling that out real soon, and that'll be available for high schools across the nation.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. And that can be accessed on your website.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have a website specifically called Girl Be the Goat.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Excellent.
Girl Be the
Okay.
Goat. Yeah.
We'll make sure that we follow that. As you're, thinking about your future projects and empowerment, how do you continue to put at the front breaking down cultural barriers within your work?
Well, the good thing about being an entrepreneur is that you get to work with whoever you want to work with. That's part of the reason why I became an entrepreneur, because I didn't want to have to deal with anybody's microaggression. I didn't want to have to deal with discrimination in any kind of way. If somebody sees me as who I am and they want to hire me to come and speak, or they want to purchase my books, or maybe my program, my coaching programs, or whatever the case might be, they know that they're getting me. They're getting me. And so if they chose me for a reason. And so since I've started this entrepreneurial journey, I haven't had to deal with any microaggression. I get up every day and I don't have the same type of stress that I had. I'm telling you, like, the day I left the university, there was this weight that just fell off me. And there's nothing like it. I mean, it's difficult being a new entrepreneur. My learning curve was really big because, I mean, as an academic, that's a very different type of lifestyle. And so I had a lot to learn, and I'm still learning a lot, but I wouldn't trade anything because I get to wake up every day in joy, doing what I know I love to do and what God asked me to do.
Well, Black female entrepreneurs are the largest group of entrepreneurs in the United States that are
Yeah.
growing.
Yeah.
And there's quite a bit of literature currently to that. It's very difficult for Black women to
Mhm.
work, live, and progress within typical work. So being able to work at a distance and protect themselves is
Yep.
something that I think we're going to continue to see more. I'm so proud of you. Oh, so you have received numerous awards and recognitions. You've talked a little bit about your legacy, but what do you hope your legacy will be in fashion, education, and empowerment?
I took a lesson from Maya Angelou and Oprah Winfrey's conversation that they had in regards to legacy. Because typically, when we think about legacy, we think about one thing or two things that we do, um, that will be remembered, right? Like, my scholarship is one thing that I've created to help build a legacy. I'm in the process of getting that scholarship endowed so that it will be available for students all the time. And that scholarship is for Black fashion students. But what I learned from listening to a conversation between Oprah and Maya Angelou told Oprah that there's no way we will ever know what our legacy is, because our legacy includes every single life that we've touched. And what I've come to understand is that we don't even know half of the impact that we've had on people, because sometimes people just won't tell us. They'll just watch us. I've had so many people come up and tell me, "Oh, I know you from social media." I'm like, "I've never even seen this person before in my life." But people are watching. And so the legacy really is bigger than what I could ever even think that it might be. And so my goal is just to show up as the most authentic version of whatever God's highest calling is for me, just to show up in the best way I can.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Oh, our last question that I ask each guest is, How do you define innovation?
I define innovation as it's a space. And what I mean by that is it's a space in our society that allows us to move freely, to move in a way that shows up in our best selves, in the most creativity that we can have. If you're restricted in what you can do, that's going to also restrict the level of innovation you can have. So if you can be free to just be you and be the best you, the creativity will just come, it'll just come out. I mean, there won't be anything that'll be holding it back. And so to me, that's what innovation is, freedom.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. So thank you for joining us today, Dr. Ellington.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Well, it's truly been our pleasure to explore the depth of self-empowerment, cultural transformation, and your incredible journey in overcoming adversity and championing diversity in fashion and in education and in women's lives. To our listeners, I hope this conversation has enlightened and inspired you to embrace your journeys of self-discovery and innovation. May Dr. Ellington's story motivate you to break through barriers and use your unique experiences to drive positive change in your communities and beyond. So remember, innovation is more than just creating something new. It's about personal growth, societal norms, and using our distinct voices and experiences to inspire and empower others. I am Dr. Yolanda Sanders, and I'm signing off until our next episode. Keep innovating, keep dreaming, and keep making a difference.